Hello and welcome back, guys. We're now starting a part 2 of What If Deku Had a Shape-Shifting Quirk, written by Jace_is_dead, Sleepy_wildflower. You can find author's profile link in the description. Let's begin chapter 10, Sleepover. Mina took a deep breath before knocking on the door, waiting only a moment before Hizashi answered. Ashido. Good to see you, come in. Thanks Mr. Yamada. She carefully kicked her shoes off before pushing them out of the way. You have a lovely home. Why thank you. The boys are in Izuku's room, let me know if you need anything alright. The pink girl nodded before running to the room, easily throwing her bag on the floor before jumping onto the bed. The favorite has arrived. She threw her arms around Izuku while Hitoshi spun in his chair. Izuku's been here. How dare you? Reaching back she grabbed a pillow and hurled it at him. Hey! Hitoshi grabbed the pillow and threw it back, missing when Mina rolled off the bed. Izuku watched the two mess around before grabbing Mina's bag and carefully putting things way around the room. They got to the bottom of the bag when they noticed two small bags, one full of strings and the other with beads. Mina, both looked over to Izuku from their spot on the floor. What's this? She shoved Hitoshi off of her and skipped over. That, my dear friend, is what we need to make. She pretended to drum roll on her leg, friendship bracelets. With jazz hands she grabbed the bags and hopped onto the bed. We just need to pick our colors and what we want on them. Then we can make them and be friends forever. Next we can braid our hair and talk about boys. Hitoshi pretended to giggle before glaring at Mina. Braid our hair. Izuku wants his hair braided and then you can talk about boys. Hitoshi. What? I don't actually want to talk about boys. Kinda sounds like you do. Shut up. When Aizawa got home he immediately noticed the extra pair of shoes near the door. It took him a moment to remember, but he quickly realized that the shoes were Mina's, which meant she was here and likely hanging out with the boys in Izuku's room. Why must there be more children? Hizashi laughed from the kitchen, taking a moment before going into the living room and bringing with him 2 mugs and a plate of food. You love all the kids, don't lie to yourself. He handed Aizawa the mug, who greedily drank the coffee before sitting on the couch. They'll probably keep themselves busy and we can take a nap. How does that sound? I knew there was a reason I married you. The two ate their snack before laying on the couch and cuddling, the 2 cats quickly joining them. Wait, so then I just tie it off? Yep. Now we have matching bracelets. Though I am disappointed about the lack of boy talk. Hitoshi grabbed the pillow and threw it at Mina again, getting a laugh from the girl. What boys? Both the others froze and turned to Izuku with wide eyes. Mina looked to Hitoshi for help but the boy only shrugged. I guess I don't know, there's this one guy in my class and he's nice. Seriously? What? He doesn't talk to me but he seems friendly. We don't have boys. Yeah, Izuku's got a point, we don't really have any classmates to talk about. The white-haired boy hummed before smiling. Tamaki. You have a crush on Tamaki. What's a crush? Hitoshi, dude, I am not old enough to give another person the birds and the bees talk. You think I am? Why are you both shouting? All 3 of them turned to Aizawa. What's a crush? The man looked down at Izuku and stared at him for a moment. Something you will never have. Why not? Because you're not allowed to date. What about me? You either. What about me? You're not my kid so I don't care. Wow, you don't care about your fake daughter. Real nice dad. Aizawa glared at Hitoshi who only shrugged. What if I want a crush? Yeah, what if they want a crush, dad? Mina asked with a large smirk. Still not my kid and still not allowed. Why not? Because I said so. Izuku glared this time, baring his teeth a little as his tail swished back and forth. Izuku, no. The kid started growling. Izuku. See, now he'll get a crush to spite you. Didn't he say he had one on Tamaki? Aizawa zeroed in on Mina. They said what? Well, we were talking about boys and Izuku mentioned Tamaki. Aizawa looked to Izuku who hadn't backed down yet, still glaring at their father. I thought he said Tamaki cause he's like the only boy you guys know. Mina whispered as the other two kept glaring. I know, but it's really fun to mess with Dad. Izuku, you do not have a crush on Amajiki. Why not? Because you don't even know what a crush is. Yes I do. You just asked what a crush was. I learn quick. The two kept going back and forth for a while until Hisashi walked in. Hitoshi, Ashido, why are those two arguing? He sat on the bed next to the two kids, watching the other two like a tennis game. So Mina made a joke about us talking about boys, then she mentioned some guy in her class, then Izuku asked what a crush was and mentioned Tamaki cause he's like the only other guy we interact with, then Dad came in cause we were shouting and Izuku asked him what a crush was and Dad said he'd never have one so he doesn't need to know and now Izuku is saying he does have one and yeah. Hisashi hummed before standing up and clapping Aizawa on the shoulder. As much as I would love to keep our boys away from romance forever, we do tragically have Namiri as a friend so, he gestured to the bed, all children on the bed, I'm explaining crushes. Is it also the SEC talk? God no I am holding off forever on that is a nem thing. Izuku raised his hand with a smile, I know what that is. They all stared at them before Hisashi sighed. Right, raised in the woods with wild animals, okay. He clapped before plastering a smile on, alright let's get started then. This was a weird sleepover, Mina laid on her stomach and kicked her feet with a large smile, I don't think I've ever seen your dad so uncomfortable. I know right. I knew this friendship was an awesome idea. I don't have a crush on Tamaki. We know buddy, we know. Chapter 11, Entrance Exams. Alright men. Mina shouted with her hands on her hips, we will be embarking on a dangerous mission. Mina what the hell are you talking about? Shut up Hitoshi. Are we fighting? Both turned to Izuku, who hung upside down on one of the gymnastic poles. Yes we're fighting Hitoshi. Why? Because he's annoying. I argue we fight you for the same reason Pinky. That sounds racist. Mina, the girl looked to Izuku who was trying not to laugh, prepared. Yes. I almost forgot, but we are preparing for battle for in a week we will be, she drummed her fingers on her legs, taking the entrance exams. Haven't we been preparing for a while? Tamaki said prepared. Yeah Izuku's student said we're all good. Well Sensei Catgirl might be prepared what about us? What about us? Hitoshi, Mina grabbed the boy's shoulder with a serious look, I've seen your little brother turn into a dragon, we, however, cannot do that. You have acid that comes out of you, if anything I should be worried, he looked on a bit, I mean, my quirk doesn't really work against robots, which is why I'm kinda sad Dad's didn't let me do the recommendation exam. You'll do good, Izuku hopped off the bars and pulled Hitoshi into a hug, best fighter out there. Dancing is a sport Pinkie Pie, are you boys ready? Fluttershy, face without mouth raised fist 2 hearts Pinkie Pie, thanks. You'll do great too Aizu. Discord, is it too late to just sleep through all of this? Fluttershy, pleading face with raised eyebrows zzz expressionless face Discord, fine, see you at the front gate Pinkie Pie, WOO, still can't believe Dad and Pops didn't let us take the recommendation test. Hitoshi groaned, leaning on Izuku who only huffed. There are my boys. My good time pals. Mina tackled them from behind, getting a happy growl from Izuku and my favorite little guys. They nudged her arm with a smile. Nervous still. Nah. I'll kick butt. We'll kick butt. She paused, oh yeah. This is my man's Kiri. She dragged another teen over to them who looked just as awkward, Kiri, meet my friends. Izuku and Hitoshi. Sup, Hitoshi Ameda and my sibling Izuku. Nice to meet you bros, he waved a little, my name's Kirishima Aijiro. The teen obviously tried to put more enthusiasm into his words but it didn't affect much. Hi, Izuku waved back, hero course. Kirishima stared for a moment before smiling. Yeah. Totally. I hope I get in. We've talked about this. You will get in, we'll all get in. That's pretty unrealistic but whatever makes you feel better. Mina and Hitoshi glared at each other, though there wasn't any real heat behind it. Let's go before all the spots are taken. Listening to Hizashi explain the entire thing, Izuku could tell he was hiding something, but it was obviously part of the test so they ignored it. They trusted the staff to keep everyone safe. He changed into his workout clothes, black leggings with shorts and a tight athletic shirt. Izuku thought it was dumb to have the shorts and leggings but his dads had been pretty adamant on having them. The difference he noticed about himself and the other examines was his lack of shoes. He wondered if Nezu would let him go to school without shoes too. Excuse me. Izuku jumped a little and turned around, seeing a taller boy with engines on his legs. Is this some kind of joke to you? You are not wearing shoes. They stared for a moment, trying not to react as people began putting them at the bottom of the totem pole. Sign. Yes, I know sign. Now explain your lack of dash, begin. Izuku shot off, ignoring the others' protests. They knew that when they were told to run, they ran. Immediately they came across a three-pointer. It was rather large but they knew what to do. Turning into a stoat they slipped between the plates of the machine, carefully chewing through the wires before it died. They went to a few more doing the same thing before pausing and turning back to human, looking around and seeing a guy close to being crushed. They turned into a cheetah and raced over, snatching the person with their teeth away from the danger. Letting them go they changed back and looked to the blonde. Hurt. Merci, but no, thank you for the assistance, I hope we meet again. Izuku nodded and went back to the robots. After a while Izuku paused again. He didn't hear anyone in danger this time, but he could feel something getting closer. They have that thing. That's the 0-pointer. Let's get out of here. Izuku watched them all run away back towards the entrance and he couldn't blame them. He was soon to join them but something stopped him. Looking back towards the robot they saw a girl trapped under some rubble. No one was helping her though and the robot wasn't stopping. Izuku got low to the ground, turning into a cheetah again before running over to her. There wasn't anything he could do about the rubble in time to outrun the robot so he had to take down the robot before it got to her. They turned into a hawk and flew above the robot before turning human, landing on its shoulder. The thing was big enough that its wires could be destroyed by their hands and teeth alone, no need for another change. Ripping into the metal hurt a bit and he knew his hands were probably a little hurt but the robot stopped its movements. Flying back down he landed next to the girl who had freed herself. Are you okay? She asked, looking a little pale. They nodded once before offering their hand, helping the girl up before picking her up. Thanks. Then she passed out. Izuku looked her over but didn't see any issues other than the sprained, possibly broken, ankle so they assumed it was Quirk overuse. Let me see her dearie. Izuku looked and saw recovery girl coming towards them. Crouching down the woman looked her over. Poor thing overused her quirk. Why don't you help me take her back to the office? A little sleep and I can fix her right up. Okay. His tail swished slightly. He liked helping recovery girl. Good, now are you hurt? They tilted their head a bit before looking to the girl. Hands, but it can wait. Alright, but your fathers and brother will be very angry if you lied. They chuckled a little and nodded, knowing full well how they all got when he was injured. Not that the other three weren't hypocrites. Once he was able to set her down, recovery girl shook her head at his hands. Those are pretty beat up. There were small cuts and bruises, not to mention what looked like small burns. How did you even do that? Wires. I keep telling those fools to tone it down. Dancing is a sport. Pinkie Pie. Oh Izubabe. I didn't see you wink with a frown. Fluttershy, folded hands man running blonde-haired woman health worker kiss mark Pinkie Pie. Okay, I need a translation for that one Discord. It says, sorry ran girl to recovery girl so he had to take another examine to recovery girl Pinkie Pie. Teach me the way. Oh wise one Discord. I seriously think only me and the fathers can understand anything they say. Pinkie Pie, understandable. Can we add Kiri here? I think he needs more friends, laughing face. Discord, don't care. Fluttershy, grinning face with big eyes. Thumbs up. Pinkie Pie, i.e. Pinkie Pie added Kirishima Ijiro. Pinkie Pie changed Kirishima Ijiro's name to Applejack. Pinkie Pie, welcome Kiri. At Discord is Hitoshi and at Fluttershy is Izuku. I will warn you, they talk only in emojis. Applejack, really. Love the dedication bro. Fluttershy, pleading face, flushed face, beaming face with smiling eyes. Discord, if you ever need translations just ask me. Applejack, thanks man. But how do you guys think you did? Pinkie Pie, I think I did amazing. Maybe not the best, but I hope I get in. I know I'll get in. Discord, my quirk isn't combat-based, so hoping for the best. Really. Fluttershy, disappointed face, sad but relieved face, face without mouth, face with head bandage, woman dancing man standing. Applejack, might need a translation on that. Discord, he said, sad and nervous. Those next two mean embarrassed and scared, then hurt, you got injured. And the last three just kinda mean he's here so might as well just dance or stand around. Applejack, oh I kinda get it, me too bro, also hope you're okay, sad face. Discord, yeah, how'd you get hurt and how do dads not know yet? Fluttershy, pinching hand, okay hand, woman health worker, kiss mark. Pinkie Pie, I can translate. Pinkie Pie, you hurt your hands only a little but it's okay because recovery girl healed you. Fluttershy, grinning face with big eyes. Thumbs up. Applejack, glad to hear you're all good bro, hope the dads don't go to crazy. LMAO. Discord, screw the dads, I'm in your F-walls. Izuku, why didn't you say anything earlier? Where are you? Pinkie Pie, poop, protective brother mode. Fluttershy, face without mouth, grinning face with sweat, face without mouth. Fog. Discord, I will find you, they said they didn't think it was a big deal and they're hiding. Applejack, ha. You guys are pretty lively. If you don't mind, what are your quirks? Pinkie Pie, if you know mine, so I'll put it just in case. I can create acid from my body. I can also control how corrosive it is, thank Izuku, and how much of it, so I use it slide around and stuff. Discord, if I ask someone a question and they answer it, I can control them sorta, how else to describe it? Fluttershy, Animorphs. Discord, first words in the chat and it's you being AF nerd. Fluttershy, upside down face, starstruck middle finger. Applejack, sorry bros, I have no idea what Animorph means. Pinkie Pie, don't sweat it. Izuku just likes that series a lot. Discord, they can turn into animals and stuff. Applejack, bro. You guys have such cool quirks. Lot better than mine anyway. Fluttershy, thinking face. Applejack, I can turn my skin hard. Discord, I don't think that's a quirk. Pinkie Pie, I'm so sad that we're friends because you say stuff like this and then I feel bad that Izuku has to live with you. Discord, F you too. Fluttershy, I Fluttershy, smiling face with heart eyes, starstruck raised fist, grinning face with big eyes. Thumbs up. Applejack, aw thanks bro. Dad. No. Dad, come on. Hitoshi, no. Papa. Nope. Seriously. The teen threw his hands up before huffing, I thought with us being your kids we were supposed to get nepotism or something. He turned to his sibling, you try asking them. Why? 'Cause you can do actually. Puppy eyes, now try it on Papa, Dad's a heartless monster. The man in question glared at Hitoshi before looking to Hisashi. Zashi, you break, we're getting a divorce. I won't break. Izuku turned into a small wolf pup and jumped onto the counter, pretending to stumble before sitting in front of Hisashi. Oh no. Zashi, they began pawing at the table while letting out small whines. Zashi, for the love of God, you cannot be serious. Babe, this is really hard. Look how sad they are. Izuku then laid on the table and whined more. Ah. Baby. The blonde looked close to tears while his husband only stared in shock. Luckily for them though, one of their phones began to ring, breaking the spell. Oh thank God. It's Nedzu, Aizawa answered while Hisashi collected himself. Okay. Right. We'll be there. He put his phone away before grabbing the keys. Nedzu needs all four of us at the school. Thank you all for coming and congratulations to you both for getting into the hero course. Hitoshi cheered before he was tackled by Izuku, both of them tumbling to the floor. Now the thing I need to talk about is your classes. I thought it wouldn't be a problem if I was their teacher. It isn't, but with how we usually separate the classes it would be better to separate them. I was going to give them the choice of who went into 1A and who went into 1B. Aizawa sighed while Hizashi nodded along. It makes sense, Sho. You tend to get the more flashy, heroic quirks and Vlad gets the more subtle stuff. Which is why I hate his guts. He sighed again. Alright, who would go with who though? Normally it would likely be Hitoshi going with Vlad just based off quirk, but with his aspirations and talents it would be logical for him to be in your class. With Izuku I don't see it matching. They have excellent control and understanding of their quirk and it can used in every situation. So it is up to the boys then. The three looked over to see Hitoshi being lightly crushed by a tiger. Boys, both perked up, getting of the ground. Which one of you wants to be with your dad and the other with Vlad King? Why not both? I apologize but there is only one spot left in each class. With the different recommendation students and other quirks this year that's how it panned out. Izuku looked between their brother and parents. In all honesty he didn't want to be separated from either of them, too used to being surrounded by his family that just the thought of being alone freaked him out. That's fine, I'll go with Vlad King. Hitoshi shrugged a little, getting a weird look from Izuku. What? Like Principal Nedzu said, it's not like it matters who goes with who, plus I bet Dad would just find an excuse to transfer me. The white-haired teen smiled before hugging his brother tightly. Sounds like a plan then. Izuku will be in class 1A and Hitoshi will be in 1B. The two kids cheered again. Now Izuku, Hitoshi, why don't you two run around while I talk to your fathers about something? I think he forgets we're not 10 anymore. Hitoshi rolled his eyes but dragged his sibling out of the room. Why'd you kick the kids out? I wanted to inform you that we'll be getting a new heroics teacher. The two nodded slowly. It's All Might. What to do? Hitoshi looked around every corner as they walked. We could break into the teacher's lounge and bother Aunt Nem. Aunt Nem. Teacher's lounge it is, but you have to carry me. Izuku rolled their eyes before turning into horse and bowing slightly, letting Hitoshi get on and then running down the hall. They were halfway to the teacher's lounge when someone began shouting at them. Young man. How did you get a horse into the building? Izuku slowed down and trotted up slowly to the man. Well sir, I'm really good at magic, wanna see it turn into a rabbit. Izuku huffed and bucked the other off of him. Hey. Now young man. No need to yell at the poor animal, it's likely just stressed from being inside. The man carefully patted Izuku on the neck, who only stared down at Hitoshi, but he knew his brother was smirking. They're gonna be stressed in a second. The horse only huffed again though. Boys. All three looked over to see Midnight. What's going on over here? Hey Aunt Nem, this guy didn't like me having a horse inside and then Izuku bucked me off cause he's in butt. At his shouting Izuku turned back to human and tackled the other, shocking the poor man. Don't worry, Midnight waved him off with a smile. That's Hitoshi and Izuku Ameda, they're Aizawa and Yamada's kids. I see. Should we stop them from fighting? No need, this time it was Aizawa. Boys. Both jumped before glaring. He started it. Izuku shouted, and I'm ending it. Hitoshi bit his brother's arm, getting a growl before his brother started biting him back. God damn it, Aizawa sighed and rubbed the bridge of his nose as Midnight and Hizashi started laughing. If you don't stop I'm not letting Ishido and Kurashima come over this weekend. That got them both to stop fighting immediately. Now what did we say about fighting around strangers? Didn't draw a BLD. Don't do it. Good job Izuku and yes Hitoshi, though I would prefer you don't draw a BLD in general. Hey. He teamed up with the cats. It was only fair I got to claw and bite him too. Hizashi laughed as his husband lectured their kids. I promise they're both usually more well-behaved. Now don't go lying to him Hizashi, I've seen those kids dancing around fires in the woods. First of all Nem, you're the one who started the dancing. The woman only shrugged. Second of all, I'm trying to leave a good impression on Mr. Yagi here. It's quite alright, it's rather nice to see such lively children, do they go here? They officially start this year actually. Oh. What classes did they decide? Izuku's with Sho and Hitoshi's with Vlad King. Poor Vlad won't know what hit him. Nope. Chapter 12, Different Classes. Dancing is a sport. Pinkie Pie, 1A Let's FGO Applejack, 1A RAAAAAA Discord, well F me IGDMN Pinkie Pie, aw Toshi you know we love you Applejack, yeah Hitobro. You'll be the coolest in 1B for sure and we can hang for lunch. Discord, LMAOic I just like making you all feel guilt. Pinkie Pie, NVM I hate you again Pinkie Pie, but where's Izuku? He usually hopes on with all his symbols and love Discord. Tamaki and his friends wanted to celebrate so they're all hanging out. Plus Izuku found something called a binturong and just keeps turning into that Applejack. Bro, did they not invite you? Discord, nah they did, I'm hanging with them now but me and Tamaki needed a break so Izuku, Mirio, and Nijire are just being loud and running around Pinkie Pie. It's so funny to me that you, Tamaki, and your dad are surrounded by the most outgoing people and always have the worst time Discord. It's how it be. Izuku stood in their uniform hesitantly, while they didn't mind breathes, since it was a uniform they needed to be fitting rather than the baggy they were used to. You ready? Hitoshi leaned against the doorway, staring at his brother shift around. Don't like the breathes. No. Knew that would happen. He left for a moment before coming back and tossing a bag to Izuku. That has the girl's uniform, try that. It took a moment but when Izuku came back he seemed much happier. The skirt allowed his legs to move more freely and his tail to swish around. He had his hair pulled into a bun, the sleeves pushed up, and his foot wraps on. Now can we go? If we're late dads will kick our butt. Let's go. It didn't take long for the two to make it to the school, already seeing Mina and Kirishima at the gates. You guys made it. Oh my god Izuku. Mina looked them over. You look so cute. Why'd you go with a skirt though? Breaths were too tight, couldn't move correctly. She nodded in understanding. Bro, won't they like yell at you for no shoes? They're foot wraps and they count as shoes, we checked. Oh cool. Super manly bro. Now men. Mina put her hands on her hips. We have 10 minutes before class starts. So what will we do? Go to class. What? No Hitoshi, she groaned, I meant like, what are we gonna do? Oh. Kick butt. Kirishima shouted, getting a few strange looks, but the group didn't care. Kiri's got it. Now what are we gonna do? Kick butt. That's right boys. Now let's get in there and show 'em how it's done. Hitoshi rolled his eyes as he followed the three, all of them cheering enthusiastically as they went. Here's our class. All of them stopped in front of the door, Kirishima and Mina both looking starry-eyed at the door. We gotta go in with style right. You ready Izuku? I'm walking Hitoshi. Ah, okay, we'll meet you inside later then bro, good luck man. Thanks, see you guys later. Izuku skipped next to their brother, humming quietly and letting out small growls every now and again. You didn't have to walk me is. Wanted to, Izuku only shrugged before stopping at the door. You'll do good, you belong in the hero course, K. Hitoshi rolled his eyes but pulled his sibling into a hug. Thanks Izuku, I'll see you later. Bye. Hitoshi waved him off before opening the door and walking in, already seeing Vlad King sitting at the desk. Oh god, I got you. Ah, come on Vlad sensei, you love me. Like ya a lot more with the other one running around. Hitoshi only rolled his eyes before finding his seat. You know him. Hitoshi turned to see a boy with a white and blue headband. I'm a ways by the way, nice to meet you man. He offered the purple-haired teen a hand, who took it hesitantly. Ameda Hitoshi, but just Hitoshi works and yeah, my dad's work here. Dude that's so cool. The teen only shrugged a little. Hello, a girl with long orange hair walked up to his desk. My name's Kendo. Hitoshi. Pleasure, She greeted Aizawa as well before sitting in front of them. What are your quirks? Mine allows me to make my hands larger and stronger. Whoa. Mine lets me weld stuff together, like this. He touched his hand down to his desk before pointing to the floor, showing that it was now welded to the floor. They both turned to Hitoshi expectantly. If I ask someone a question I can mind control them. Aizawa let out a low whistle. That's pretty cool, dude. Can you mind control me? I wanna know what it feels like. It would be better to do it during training. I believe class would start soon. The two boys agreed and began pulling their supplies out as other students started coming in. Hitoshi kept an eye on all of his classmates, making lists in his head about them. He did notice a few of them Izuku would probably get along with, even a few he was sure Kirishima and Mina would drag into their little group. When the bell went off, Vlad King gave them another moment before standing up. Welcome to Class 1B of the Hero course. I will be your teacher this year. I'm Pro Hero Vlad King. Everyone move your desks and then put your chairs in a circle. Izuku stared at the door for a moment before taking a deep breath and pushing it open. Remove your feet from that desk immediately. It's an insult to those who came before us and the craftsmen who made the desk. Like I care. Izuku stared at the two for a moment. Looking at their body language and how they spoke showed two different sides to Izuku, but he mostly ignored them and looked around the room for Kirishima and Mina. You. Ameda. He turned back to them both, seeing the blue-haired boy approach. While I'm still concerned over your lack of shoes, you clearly saw through the exam. You were the better candidate. Izuku only tilted his head a little, noticing that the blonde boy was now glaring at him, but then someone else spoke. It's you. With the tail. They turned to see the girl they had taken to the nurse's office. I'm so glad you got in. Thank you so much for your help. No problem. They turned back to the room, about to speak to the blonde when the girl jumped. If you're here to make friends then get out. They all looked to the door and saw Aizawa in his sleeping bag. Izuku couldn't help it and felt his tail swish back and forth as he smiled down at his father. This is the hero course. He looked to the other students and saw Kirishima and Mina look at them both in shock before quickly getting the others to quiet down. It took you 8 seconds to quiet down. You all aren't very rational, are you? He stepped out of the sleeping bag. Time is a precious resource. He rolled his shoulders back and sighed. I'm Shoyuta Aizawa. I'll be your homeroom teacher. Now get your gym clothes and meet at the grounds. All of the students began getting up and heading out, Kirishima and Mina both grabbing onto Izuku. Izuku, you son of a beach. The white-haired teen only laughed. You didn't say our teacher would be your dad. Sorry, they shrugged. Funny secret. They're right, it is pretty funny. Mina, Kirishima laid an arm across their shoulders. But dude, what was that girl talking about? Was she the one you helped? Izuku nodded. Dude, that's so manly. We better hurry and get changed though. I've seen how sad he gets when we're late. All three agreed and hurried to the locker rooms, Kirishima dragging Izuku over to the boys' locker room when someone stopped them. Dude, not that it really matters I guess, but shouldn't she go with the other girls? Both of them turned to a blonde boy with a black lightning streak. Hee hee, I don't care. A shorter boy with ball for hair laughed. She can come in. First of all dude, that's creepy. Kirishima glared at the shorter, and second of all, Izuku is a guy. He paused. Wait, unless you do want to change with the girls, but I think you'd have to ask first. This is fine. Izuku didn't wait for anyone else before pushing in and going to one of the lockers. See. Izubro doesn't care. Kirishima followed in after him. While the white-haired teen changed, they failed to notice everyone staring at the scars that littered their body. Once they were finished they turned to see everybody still looking, but they only smiled widely and left the locker room. Anyone kick up a fuss? Aizawa asked as soon as they made it outside. He tilted their head. One, he was not good. Which one? Aizawa had learned by now to trust the instincts of his kids, especially Izuku. Small and purple, acted weird. He hummed before stepping away as other students began coming out. Alright, we're going to go in a circle and say your names, quirks, and 2 fun facts about yourself, Hitoshi groaned, getting a few laughs. Keep talking Aimada and I'll make you do an ORL. The teen only shrugged as the teacher tossed a ball to Kendo. You'll start us off. Thank you, my name is Kendo Itsuka, my quirk is called Big Fist and it allows me to change the size of my hands. Fun facts, I'm really good at soccer but terrible at volleyball and I have a dog named Serby. She looked around the circle before tossing it to a blonde boy. My name's Monoma Nito, my quirk is called Copycat which allows me to copy the quirk of anyone I touch. My best subject is English and I've been told I can get overzealous about school spirit. He hummed before smirking and tossing the ball at Hitoshi. Sup, my name's Aimada Hitoshi, just Hitoshi works, my quirk is called brainwashing and it allows me to control people through asking a question. I have a sibling that also goes here and we have 2 cats that hate each other, they're named Mangy and Bstrd. Language. It's my cat's name Vampire Man. He looked around before deciding to toss it to a ways. Here. As he looked around the group again he noticed the Monoma kid staring at him, though it was a little hard to tell if it was out of interest or annoyance. Hitoshi lifted a brow, only getting a slightly sinister smile. Izuku couldn't help but feel excited after Aizawa's statement. While the rest of his classmates were freaking out he only growled quietly and let his tail swish around. Izuku, bro, your dad's just messing right? Kirishima whispered, clearly trying not to draw attention. Yeah, he wouldn't actually expel anyone, right? Izuku only shrugged, okay, so he will, great. While the 2 panicked Izuku looked around at the others before meeting eyes with something. It looked like a large bird made of shadows, its body stretching from another student with a bird head that was trying to avoid looking at Izuku. The teen had no such qualms though, especially after meeting Mina. They skipped over to the bird, the creature tilting its head at them. I apologize for Dark Shadow, she seems to do as she pleases. Izuku let out a small huff. It's okay, he felt the urge to try and talk to the bird like he did in the forest, but he bit his tongue. She seems nice. Thank you. Izuku smiled and felt their tail swish faster as Dark Shadow responded. Aimada, you and Bakuga next, he waved before walking over to the small track and crouching down, feeling his hands and feet change. Go. He kicked off and ran, feeling Bakuga's explosions burn the air around them. The blonde glared at him when they finished but Izuku only smiled. His body language reminded him of the peacocks he had seen at the zoo or the old alpha of the wolf pack he used to travel with. Flaunting power but signs of insecurity. The F you lookin' at Zoo Fest. Izuku laughed a little before going back to Mina and Kirishima. The rest of the tests went by easy, Izuku passing most of them with flying colors. Izuku, Mina, and a girl named Tsu had all tied for flexibility. They got close to tying with another boy named Shoji, and had almost won against a girl named Yaoyorozu during the stamina test. Here are the rankings. They looked to the invisible girl and smiled. This was all a logical ruse. What? When the lunch bell rang Hitoshi was a little surprised that Kendo and Aways walked with him. He was even more surprised when Monoma and Testu joined. You, Aimada Hitoshi have piqued my interest, the blonde spoke with a hand to his head, and I have decided we are friends. The purple-haired teen felt like he was having flashbacks to when he met Mina. Okay. And like I said, just Hitoshi is fine, no one really uses that name anyway. It's your last name though. Yeah, but with my sibling and parents it doesn't really mean much, we're both Aimadas but that's just a combination of our parents' names. What? Dude, I was totally gonna try and find out who your dads are. Good luck, unless you see them at my house you'll never know and even then it's not likely, they both work a lot. And what about this sibling you speak of? Hitoshi lifted a brow at Monoma. He's in a different class. But not a different course, so he's in 1A. The way the blonde said it rubbed him the wrong way. Watch it, I got friends in there too. Well, there'll be no match when you become friends with me. Clearly 1B has the superior friends. I totally get what he meant when he said he has school spirit. More like egomaniac. Hey. He shoved Aways who only laughed. We should all sit together, Kendo offered. I think it's important to make strong friendships on the first day. Do we have to bring him? Hitoshi pointed to Monoma, who scoffed. Maybe we should ditch you. Nah man, I like Hitoshi. Awase said while laying an arm around the other. Sorry bro. Seriously. Hitoshi only smirked and nudged Monoma, trying to make it clear they was only teasing. Well, I guess it can't be helped, let's get food and find a seat before they're all taken by wannabes. Kendo lightly hit the other before going to one of the lines. Once they had all gotten their food, they found a large table and all sat around, though the group noticed that Hitoshi sat on the edge and closer to an empty neighboring table. Why are you sitting there? My brother and friends wanted to sit together for lunch, so if they have more people then there's space. That's sweet, I can't wait to meet them. Whoa, the group looked to Awase, who was pointing. Who are they and why are they both hot? They all looked to where the other teen was pointing, seeing two people chatting as they walked around. Hitoshi felt like he was going to die, because he recognized the two immediately. Awase, I'm going to kill myself and you're going in my note. Jesus bro. Why? Testu asked. This is why. He stood up a little and waved his hand. Is, Mina, over here. The two waved back before jogging over. Guys, this is my sibling Izuku and our friend Mina. Hi. Mina practically bounced as she greeted them. Name's Mina Ashido. She slid into one of the seats, dragging Izuku down to one across from her. Kirishima should be over soon, same with some new friends we made. Did you both get food? Kendo asked, noticing neither had a tray. Kiri promised to grab mine while I looked for you. Izuku was gonna go with him, but this guy in our class felt bad about something, so he offered to grab Izuku's food. What happened? Mix up. Izuku patted his brother's head with a smile. All good, but he offered. So you're the famous sibling I've been hearing so much about. Monoma dragged a chair around, sitting between Hitoshi and Izuku. And what is your quirk exactly? Doubt it's better than Hitoshi's over here. What are you doing? I'm trying to hype you up, Hitoshi. It's what friends do. My man. Mina reached over and forced Monoma to shake her hand. I'm Iza's bestie, but tragically they come as a package deal. Hitoshi tried to flick food at her, but the girl only caught it, getting cheers from the others. Hito has a great quirk. Izuku felt their tail move quickly. What's yours? The blonde was caught off guard for a moment but smirked. I call it copycat. It allows me to copy someone's quirk with a touch. The white-haired teen practically lit up and offered their arm. Oh, what is your quirk? Monoma still touched their arm, seeming to think for a moment before his hand changed into claws. It's a shape-shifting kind. He can turn into animals, but the tail and horns are a fixed mutation. Hitoshi explained as he started eating. Interesting. Monoma looked to Awase and Hitoshi before smirking. You know Izuku, I would love to test out some things with your quirk, if you're interested in training together, that is. Sure. Hitoshi pretended to GG while Mina started laughing uncontrollably. Dude, come on. What? Kendo said it was important to make friends. I'm simply listening to her. My queens. They all looked over to see Kirishima and Kaminari approaching, both holding two trays. We have brought the food. The redhead laughed as he handed Mina her food, taking the open seat next to her while Kaminari pretended to get on his knees and offer it to Izuku. Please accept my humblest apologies and offering. It's okay, Kaminari, thank you. Izuku took the tray with a smile before grabbing a chair. Why thank you? The blonde took the chair, sitting in it backwards before digging in. What was that about? Who knows? Chapter 13, Battle Training. Dancing is a sport. Pinkie Pie. Good morning my boys. Ready for another day. Applejack, rise and grind baby, let's go Discord. Y'all, I am tired. Pinkie Pie, get some coffee in ya baby, we still got school and it's officially the Siang day. Fluttershy, people holding hands grinning face Discord. Yeah, I'm happy to hang out with my friends. Applejack, bro, why you got the finger quotes? Discord, I've known them for like a day. And Monoma's annoying. Fluttershy, Discord, you can get along with him all you want. I still think he's annoying Pinkie Pie. Lucky for everyone, then you can be just as annoying Discord. You love it when I'm annoying Pinkie Pie. Yeah, I do. BB Fluttershy, face vomiting, face vomiting, face vomiting, face vomiting, face vomiting, face vomiting. Discord. Can't believe my sibling doesn't support our love. Pinkie Pie, our love is forbidden. Walking through the gates, Izuku ignored what the other three were talking about and looked around. He had still wanted to talk to the student with the shadow bird. He was pretty sure his name was Tokoyami. They spotted him pretty quickly and waved a quick goodbye before jogging over to him. I see our paths crossed again. Izuku nodded with a large smile, their tail swishing back and forth happily. Want to be friends? Tokoyami seemed surprised by the question but nodded. It would be wise to have an ally in these uncertain times. New friend. The shadow bird appeared and wrapped her arms around Izuku. Fumi, we have a new friend. Dark Shadow released them. But new friend. It's alright, Izuku patted the shadow on the head. Friendly. I am very friendly. Tokoyami sighed as Dark Shadow finally let go, returning back to the team. I do apologize, she is not used to other people. Me neither, he gestured to himself. Some people think I'm scary. I have faced the same issues, though I assure you I do not feel that way towards you, my friend. Same, walk to class. Yes, before we are late. As they walked, Tokoyami seemed to fill most of the silence, talking about a poem book he had recently gotten. Izuku added in their own opinions as well as what they thought Hizashi might have thought about it. Don't you two look buddy-buddy, Mina teased. My name's Mina Ashido, just Mina works. She offered her hand to Tokoyami, who took it cautiously. Tokoyami, please. He turned to Izuku. Your name is Ameda, correct? Izuku. Izuku, then, I am pleased to call you a friend. Ah. What about me? I have just met you, Mina, but your personality shines obnoxiously bright. Oh, stop it, you. She shoved him playfully, getting an eye roll. Now let's sit down before Aizawa-sensei expels us. Even though Izuku was excited to learn and see his family, it felt like the day was dragging on. Not even Hizashi's exciting teaching style was enough to keep everyone focused. When lunchtime rolled around, Izuku went over to Tokoyami, who was talking with Shoji. Sit with us. I would be pleased if Shoji could join us. Izuku smiled at the taller teen. Course. In the corner with 1B. We shall see you there then. Izubro, you comin'. They waved before jogging over to Mina, Kaminari, and Kirishima. Did you invite them? Yes. Tokoyami is new friend, hopefully Shoji. Dude, Kaminari wrapped an arm around Izuku's shoulders. Who wouldn't want to be friends with us? Think that Bakuga guy probably. Kirishima said as they sat at their lunch table. Peacock. All three looked at him confused before Mina gasped. You think he's just flaunting? Makes sense, bet he's been told how amazing he is his entire life. The girls smirked evilly. Me and Hitoshi can knock him down a few pegs. Who are we knocking down? Can it be Monoma? Izuku huffed, already seeing the blonde's offended expression. How dare you? He turned to Izuku. Tell your brother to stop bullying me. Won't work, Izuku shrugged with a laugh. Bullies everyone, love language. So him bullying means we're friends then? No, it doesn't. Hitoshi argued, but both ignored him. Best friends. Don't feed into his delusions. I'll keep him down to earth, Kendo joked. The others wanted to make more friends, but I'll keep it to you guys for now. Speaking of friends, Izuku invited over Tokoyami and Shoji from our class, so keep these spots open. Mina demanded, waving to the open spots across from Izuku and Hitoshi. Ma'am, yes ma'am. Kaminari and Kirishima pretended to salute her before standing guard at the seats. Do I even want to know? The group looked over and saw Zero. Probably not. Mina pulled the chair next to her out before looking back to the others. Wasn't the only one who made a friend today. Sup guys, Zero Hanta, I shoot tape out of my elbows. What's it made of? Izuku asked, leaning forward a bit. I think it's kinda made of my bones. Tape bones. If we took your bones, would it just be tape rolls? I immediately regret saying I'd sit with you, Mina. Hopefully we won't. Kaminari and Kirishima moved as Tokoyami and Shoji walked up. My name's Shoji. I am Tokoyami and this is Dark Shadow. Hello. Monoma tilted his head at Tokoyami. I wonder what would happen if I used your quirk. Used my quirk? Mine's called Copycat. I can copy any quirk I touch for up to 3 minutes. Monoma waved his hand dismissively. Usually when I copy certain quirks I can get aspects of the user's body, only if it's useful to the quirk though. So that's why you didn't get horns or the tail like Izuku. It is unlikely you would have a bird head like mine. It is in my family's genetics to have animal, specifically avian, mutations. That's me with my horns. My mom's side has always had stuff like this. You should see my grandpa, he's got some wild ones. I am coming through the door like a normal person. Izuku jumped a little as the class broke into cheers. The thing was, Izuku knew who All Might was. He thought the man was an amazing hero, but he also didn't care that much beyond that. Hitoshi said it was because living with wolves made him uncultured. Aizawa then smacked the back of his head for that. Hero Basic Training. The class that'll put you through all sorts of special training to mold you into heroes. They covered their ears a little as the class got louder. No time to dilly-dally. Today we are battle training. And you can't do training without these. All Might pressed a button that revealed cases with their numbers on them, with your quirks and specific requests in mind. Soon enough everyone was rushing and grabbing their own cases. Here, Izuku saw Dark Shadow reach through the crowd, holding 3 cases. I shall grab ours and Koda's. Tokoyami handed the 3rd case to a teen next him who was signing his thanks. Izuku copied the gesture before following the group to the locker rooms. When Izuku opened their case they froze at the piece of metal sitting on top of their costume. They didn't need to pick it up to know it was a muzzle, something themselves and their family had said no to multiple times. Hey Izuku, what's dash? Kaminari came behind them, also freezing at the sight of the muzzle. Oh, that's mine. The blonde reached around and took the face where, yeah, they must have totally put it in the wrong case. And they made it wrong. Doesn't even fit me. Guess we'll have to throw it away. He tossed it into the bin before anyone stopped him. Thank you. Izuku nudged him with his horns before pulling out the rest of his costume, luckily not seeing anything else like the muzzle. Yeah man, no problem, after all they clearly messed up our costumes so I was just fixing a mistake. He rolled his eyes before starting to change, making sure each piece was secured before spinning a bit. Their costume had padded black foot wraps that went up to their thigh with extra protection on their knees, a black sleeveless body suit with shorts, black fingerless gloves that went to their biceps, and a white kimono with extra fabric to use as a hood and mask. Whoa, Mina let out a low whistle. That looks amazing Izuku. Totally manly dude. Izuku was glad his friends were there to distract him from what happened in the changing rooms. How do I look? Kaminari did a pose with finger guns, getting a few laughs from the others. Good, like the jacket. Why thank you Izuku, at least someone appreciates taste. The blonde pretended to flip his hair. Now that you are all ready, let's begin. Sensei. We appear to be in the same area as the entrance exam. Will we be expected to perform cityscape maneuvers? Nope. You'll be going on to step 2. Most of the class waited in anticipation, indoor anti-personnel battle training. Izuku zoned out for most of the explanation, instead looking around at their classmates. His eyes locked onto one of the girls. He was pretty sure her name was Yaoyorozu, but she looked uncomfortable. Not that he blamed her, her outfit looked strange, even if she needed skin-free for her quirk. Now for teams. Izuku turned back to the front, making a mental note to bring up the girl's costume when he went to visit his dad's. Team A will be Ameda and Yaoyorozu. The girl turned to him and nodded. Team B is Shoji and Todoroki. Team C is Mineta and Azui. Team D is Ida and Tokoyami. Team E is Ashido and Aoyama. Team F is Koda and Sato. Team G is Kaminari and Jiro. Team H is Uraraka and Bakugu, Team I is Hagakure and Ojiro, and finally Team J will be Kirishima and Siro. Once he finished, the different pairs joined up and began chatting quietly. Izuku found Yaoyorozu again and walked over to her. "Hello Aimada, we haven't gotten the chance to talk but I am excited to work with you," she offered her hand with a small smile. "My quirk allows me to create anything I know the makings of." Izuku, he shook her hand loosely before tilting his head. "You're uncomfortable." You noticed," she lightly tugged at her clothes. "While I was willing to let the creator have the reins, it seems to have not worked in my favor." They stared at her a little longer before taking their kimono off and draping it over her shoulders. "Oh. I couldn't possibly return it after your costume is fixed." "Of course, thank you Izuku, and please call me Yamamoto." He nodded with a smile. "Now that you've all talked, let's begin." All Might got their attention again. First matchup is Team A, Aimada and Yaoyorozu as the heroes against Team D, Tokoyami and Ida as the villains. What a mad banquet of darkness. Izuku looked to Tokoyami and tilted their head in question. "Our first ever test and I must fight against my ally." The horned teen let out a huff, trying not to laugh at their friend's dramatics. "I look forward to our match," Yamamoto said simply, waving as the villain team went into the designated building. "Remember, you have 5 minutes to plan before you must go in. Good luck." All Might shouted before starting to usher the other students away. "If you don't mind my asking, what is your quirk Izuku? I saw during Aizawa-sensei's test that you were able to change parts of your body into animals." They nodded, feeling their tail flick behind them. "Turn into animals, fully body transformation is easiest." "Are you limited on the amount of animals?" "Any animal I've ever seen, can turn into dragon but cannot breathe fire, can turn into any type of snake and use any venom though." "Interesting," she held her chin in thought. "Ida's quirk is engine, which allows him to have engines in his legs that make him quick, and Tokoyami can summon the bird Shadow. Named Dark Shadow, she is very nice." "I see, they likely don't understand either of our quirks then, a sneak attack would be best." Izuku took a step back and sized up the building, feeling his eyes change into eagle eyes. "Top floor. If they're on the top floor then we'll need to find a way up there without being caught. Perhaps there are different stairwells." Izuku tapped her shoulder. "Yes." "Yamamoto, any animal?" She nodded slowly. "I remember. Any animal." She stared before gasping. "Could you get us to the roof and cave it in? The chaos will distract them and we'll be able to get to the bomb easily." They nodded happily, clapping a little. "Heroes. Your time starts now." Yamamoto sent a thumbs up to Izuku before the teens started changing. There were a few options they could choose from, but the easiest was to change into a large gorilla. They carefully picked Yamamoto up before starting to climb the side of the building. "We'll need to be quick, I have no doubt they've seen you climbing through the windows. There truly is no light in the darkness." Tokoyami put a hand over their face. "Even when it is shown it is so quick to be snuffed out by the darkness of real life." Ida nodded along. "As villains it is our job to make sure the light never lives long. We must keep the heroes away at all cost. To fight an ally so early is the path of villainy, one must snuff out one's own light before they go for another." "You two sure are dramatic." "Silence Dark Shadow, we are mentally preparing for Tokoyami cut himself off and blinked as he looked out the window. Was that a gorilla carrying Yaoyorozu? "What?" Ida raced over to the window. "That must be Aimada's quirk. I had assumed they could only turn parts into animals, foolish of me to underestimate the heroes. How shall we prepare, O Dark One?" "They're going to the roof, we must move the bomb now." Tokoyami nodded and had Dark Shadow grab the bomb. Just as they did, the roof caved in, revealing Izuku and Yamamoto standing in the wreckage. "Surrender now villains," she moved the kimono to pull a staff out of her stomach, "or be forced to. We shall never surrender to the likes of you." Ida looked to Tokoyami. "Take the bomb and run, I shall hold them off. Your death will be glorious." Tokoyami and Dark Shadow raced out of the room with Ida blocking the way. You want to outsmart us again, heroes? I will make sure you fail at every turn. Izuku crouched down before letting out a hiss. Plan. You'll have the best luck against Tokoyami. My quirk isn't made for that type of fighting, but we'll need to get Ida out first. They nodded before getting on all fours and turning into a wolf, letting out a growl as they began stalking forward. Attempts to escape this room will be denied. There is no way out. Just as he said that, Yamamoto went around Izuku and tried to hit him with her staff. He was quick enough to dodge her but not quick enough to dodge the large snake that now wrapped around him. What? He tried to squirm out of it, but the large snake only coiled tighter. I have the capture tape. Yamamoto tied one part around his legs, letting Izuku slowly unwrap as she taped him up. Ida is out. Good work, let's find the bomb. Izuku nodded and followed her out into the hall. As they took different turns and stairs, Yamamoto sighed, this place is like a maze. Can't have gone far. He changed into a cat, immediately feeling his ears twitch around before hearing a sound and racing towards it. Yamamoto caught on quickly and followed after him. Once they got to a closed door, Izuku paused and changed back, looking to the girl for an idea. Could you sneak in and subdue him? Then I can touch the bomb. They nodded and changed into a corn snake, slithering under the door and into the room. Our teammate has fallen, we must stay vigilant. Dark Shadow. Right. Izuku was almost at his feet when the Quirk looked down. He's here. She darted down, trying to capture the snake, but they slithered away and changed into a hawk. You will not win, heroes. They lead Tokoyami to the corner of the room, making sure he didn't see when Yamamoto snuck in. Heroes win. What? He whipped around to see Yamamoto with her hand on the bomb. I have been tricked, bamboozled even. Sorry, Izuku patted his shoulder with a laugh, did good though. Thank you, my friend, you and Yaoyorozu were quite smart with your attacks. Thank you, Tokoyami, she smiled before covering her mouth. We should probably untie Ida though. Once you're done freeing your classmate, come to the observing room. You all did well, but who in the group is the MVP? All Might asked, looking between the class and the four standing at the front. It's gotta be Izuku, right? Dude was manly as hell. Kirishima offered. While he was definitely valuable, Yamamoto, Izuku pointed to her, came up with the plans and secured the bomb. Correct, young Ameda. You were a core part of her plans, but young Yaoyorozu was able to think quick and change based on the situation. The girl blushed at the praise as the class clapped. I would also like a round of applause for young Tokoyami and young Ida. Both boys committed to their roles and acted amazingly. Both boys blushed and bowed their heads. As the four went joined the other students, Izuku felt two pairs of eyes on him, both glaring. Looking around, he locked eyes with Bakugo and Todoroki, though it didn't last long as they both looked away and back towards the front. All right, is Mina asked, seeming to notice his pause. All good. He wondered what the glares were about though. Chapter 14, Class President, you're staying. Izuku nodded their head. Problem, need help from dads. Is it bad? Did something happen? Kirishima asked, looking a little worried. No, just small problem. Man. Well, we'll see you later then, right? We were gonna go over to your house and do homework. Mina explained. You made plans to go over to our house without telling us. You don't need to know everything I do, Hitoshi. God, you're so obsessed. Izuku and Kirishima laughed at the two's antics before Izuku gave them a quick goodbye and went back into the school. They had hoped to talk to their dads before school was over, but after the heroics class there hadn't been a chance to catch either of them or Namuri, so they were just going to wait for them to be finished in the teacher's lounge. Ah. Izuku. Pleasure to see you. He turned to see Nezu walking towards them. Are you waiting for your fathers? He nodded and turned into a small stout, climbing up the principal, and laying across his shoulders. Well then. Let's not keep them waiting. The walk to the lounge was rather uneventful, they had only ran into a few straggling students who greeted Nezu kindly, not noticing the extra animal with him. "And how was everyone's second day?" Nezu asked as he threw the door open, seeming to startle most of the staff. There was even a skinny blonde man who spat out "BLD, apologize Mr. Yagi. And no problem at all." Aizawa rolled his eyes at the display and looked to the principal, spotting the small white stout immediately. "What's up, kid, didn't want to walk with your brother today?" Izuku jumped off and changed back, immediately being tackled by Hisashi and Nemuri. "I missed my little cuddle bug." Nemuri squeezed them tightly. "I didn't get to hug you all day. My precious baby did so good in class today. Remind me to give Hitoshi a big hug when we get home too." Aizawa rolled his eyes again before using his capture weapon to pull the two away and drag Izuku over. "What's up, kid?" Now that Izuku was standing around his family, he was nervous. Not only did he want to bring up the clear lack of thought in some of the girls' hero costumes, but the disregard for his requests in his own. "Did something happen? You won't be in trouble?" Problem with hero costumes." Aizawa waited a moment, but Izuku didn't continue. It was clear they were stressed, their tail twitching sporadically and their hands fidgeting, but he had no clue as to why. "Ah, you noticed too, young Ameda." The group turned to the blonde man from before. "I had noticed many of the girls in class 1A seeming uncomfortable with the fitting of their costume. Even young Ameda had gifted young Yaoyorozu part of his costume to help her feel more comfortable." "I'll have a talk with the girls and the designers," Nemuri offered. "They might feel more comfortable with a female hero and teacher to share their issues." "Excellent idea. Perhaps we can even give the support course children some new projects," Nezu added, looking to Power Loader, who nodded and made a note of it. "But that is not all." They looked back to Izuku, who fidgeted some more before nodding. "Problem with my costume." He rocked on his heels before pointing to around his mouth, running his fingers over the old scars around his mouth. There was It didn't take long before his parents seemed to realize what he was talking about. "Are you kidding me?" Aizawa's eyes flashed dangerously. He stood up and tried to leave, but Vlad King had grabbed him. "Vlad, let me go or I swear to God I will break your arm." It seemed Nemuri had followed Vlad's lead and grabbed Hisashi and covered his mouth so he couldn't use his quirk. "While this is highly concerning and I understand the anger, you tragically can't go attack the designers for ignoring a preference." Nezu turned to Izuku, who looked even more worried now. "Izuku, what was done with it?" "Keikaminari threw it away." "Alright, I'll have someone go collect it so it can be taken care of properly. You two," he looked to Nemuri and Vlad, "please make sure those two do not cause too much havoc while I deal with this." As soon as Nezu left, Izuku looked to his parents and hummed before transforming into a large tiger. He went to Aizawa first and sat in front of him, looking up sadly and nudging his balled-up fist. "Kid, I love you, but I'm gonna kill someone. We told them multiple times that that wasn't going to happen and they still made one." Izuku whined and pawed at his leg. "Your puppy eyes won't work on me, kid." He laid down and curled into his paws. "Damn it, Vlad, let me down." The other teacher finally let Aizawa go, letting the underground hero pet and comfort his kid. "Thank you for telling us, Nezu will take care of it." He turned to Hisashi and activated his quirk, allowing Nemuri to let him go. "Nezu's got it." "How dare they?" The blonde stomped his foot. "We told them." "What happens if they did the same to Hitoshi or someone else? Are they ignoring obvious triggers? I mean, seriously." He grumbled and sat down next to the tiger, petting its soft fur rather aggressively. "I swear when I get my hands on that Diasgner Hisashi." "Sorry to interrupt." They all turned to Yagi, who looked confused, "but I was unaware of the relation." Aizawa sighed. "Right, you're new." Aizawa patted Izuku before standing up, letting his husband latch onto the tiger and grumble into the white fur. "Students Hitoshi Ameda and Izuku Ameda are our sons, me and Hisashi are married and Nemuri is their aunt. I'm the best aunt." Izuku let out a small yip in agreement, getting most of the staff to coo. Before they started going here, they both spent a lot of time at the school with Nezu as their teacher. Izuku also assists another student in 3A with their quirk, and Hitoshi likes to terrorize people, so you might see them a lot. Speaking of terrorize, Vlad spoke up. "For the love of God, can I give you your son?" He's making my life hell. It's the second day. Your kid works fast and he made friends with other terrors in my class. Your problem now, he turned back to Yagi, the only other students that know of our relation to them is Mina Ashido and Eijiro Kirishima, though I doubt the secret will last much longer. I see. Well, I think it's fantastic that your children also wish to be heroes. I haven't met the other young Ameda yet, but I'm sure he shows great promise like this young Ameda. Yagi seemed to stumble as he realized they had the same last names. You can call them Izuku, they don't mind. Of course. Dancing is a sport. Pinkie Pie has added 2 others. Pinkie Pie, welcome new friends. Siro Hanta, Ayo. Kaminari Denki, you was the haps my bros Discord, kill me Siro Hanta, DMN alright. Pinkie Pie, real, me too. Pookie Applejack, ignore them, they're sad that Isbro had to stay after to talk to the teacher's Discord, I need my emotional support. Animal Shifter. Pinkie Pie, he is not mean enough to help me make fun of Hitoshi, Applejack, Izuku is literally so nice though. Discord, that's what they want you to think. Pinkie Pie, their baby but also a little SHT. Discord, it's how you know we're related. Applejack, aren't you both adopted? Discord, how dare you. Kaminari Denki, can I be Spike? Pinkie Pie, you bet your butt. Discord, speaking of names, I'm changing mine to Maud Pie. Discord has changed their name to Maud Pie. Pinkie Pie has changed one name. Spike, yeah, Maud Pie, thought about changing it to Fluttershy's brother, but I would never hit on a lesbian. Pinkie Pie, you'd never hit on a woman. Maud Pie, real and true bestie. Siro Hanta, totally read the vibes wrong about you too. Pinkie Pie, we get that a lot. Maud Pie, we get that a lot. Siro Hanta changed their name to Princess Cadence. Princess Cadence, need me a big strong man to throw me. Applejack, you understand me on a level I never thought possible. Spike, there was a reason I texted you though. Mina. Pinkie Pie, what's up BB Spike, so I didn't have Hitoshi's number, but while we were getting changed into our costume I noticed Izuku acting weird, right? So I popped over to see what was up and there was a muzzle in their costume and I seemed freaked, so I just sorta threw it out, wanted to know if they were okay though. Maud Pie, mother F or I will F scold them. Pinkie Pie, seriously? Are you F kidding me? Applejack, dude that's F up. Princess Cadence, I feel left out of the loop but I'ma go with that's a bad thing. Spike, yeah, I figured it was Maud Pie. Me and the parents told the designer people like 100 F times to not have a mask of any kind like that. We decided on this like kimono type thing with fabric that would work as a hood and cover his face. Applejack, the fit looked sick but he let Yaoyorozu borrow it cause she wasn't comfortable. Pinkie Pie, glad they didn't F up the bare minimum. Maud Pie, that's probably why he stayed back to talk with the teachers. I'm F livid. Fluttershy, slightly smiling face. Thumbs up. Maud Pie, I'm glad you're fine and it's fine now but I'm losing it actively. Fluttershy, high voltage grinning face. Princess Cadence, what does that mean? Applejack, I got this. He's saying Kaminari helped Spike, glad to be of service. Maud Pie, you've passed the vibe check. Maud Pie, also when are you coming home so we can smother you? Fluttershy, person running. Pinkie Pie, good, we will suffocate you with love. Princess Cadence, totally sending my love and support to dude, love. Spike, same, love. Fluttershy, growing heart hugging face. Alright, Aizawa gathered his papers as Hizashi bustled around the house. Nemuri will be talking with the girls later. Vlad King and All Might will be keeping an eye on Class 1B in case they have any problems. Nedzu's already fired the designer who ignored the requests, and we have 10 minutes to get to the school. Hizashi, have you seen my dash? Left it on the counter, honey. A pigeon flew over with a folder in its beak. Thanks Izuku. Hitoshi, did you dash? Right here. Hitoshi came over and stuffed papers into his father's bag. We're meeting at the train stop again by the way. He told Izuku, who crowed before flying to their room. Let's go. If we're late Nem might poison the coffee. Hizashi kissed Hitoshi on the head. Love you honey, try not to kill Vlad later, okay? No promises. Didn't think so. He ruffled the teen's hair before tugging his shoes on. Izuku, don't let anyone mess with you without biting them. Stop telling Izuku to bite people. Aizawa tugged Hitoshi into a hug. If you bite someone, aim for the neck. Bye dads, love you. Hitoshi shoved the two out the door before going to Izuku's room. Almost ready. Mina wanted to get smoothies before class. Ready. Smoothies were such a good idea, man. Nothing like starting the day healthy, brothers. Kirishima cheered. I'm so glad they made coffee slushies. You're a freak. Hitoshi shoved Mina, who giggled. What is that? Izuku pointed to the school where a ton of people were standing. Did Dad say anything? Hitoshi pulled out his phone and shook his head. Guys, I think those are reporters. They are. The group turned to see Yamamoto standing there nervously. Sorry, I was waiting for Izuku to thank him again for his help yesterday, but when I got here it was surrounded by reporters. Apparently they're here to talk about All Might as our teacher. Yikes, Mina linked arms with Yamamoto and Izuku. Alright Hitoshi, you're going to be our guards like the big strong men you are. Sure. I got you, brothers. Yamamoto didn't get a chance to argue as Mina started forward, pushing through the crowd. What's it like having All Might as a teacher? Is he good as a teacher? What are they teaching you? Are the other teachers competent? Alright, back up. You're bothering the students and interrupting classes. Hizashi shouted, pushing a few away as the five made it past the gates. Sorry little listeners, we're working on it. It's quite alright present Mike-sensei, Yamamoto assured. Are there plans to disperse them? I said we should just arrest them, but Eraserhead said we can't. The hero shrugged. Nedzu's working on it though, just need an official reason. Now hurry to class. Alright, the principal is still working on the reporter issue, so I apologize for any interruptions. Aizawa stepped out of his sleeping bag, holding a stack of papers. I looked over your grades and analyzed your performances yesterday. Many of you did good. Bakugo, grow up already and stop wasting your talent. Ameda, it's good you listen to your partner but don't rely too heavily on others for a plan. Todoroki, you need to work on your teamwork, and Mineta, you need to respect your classmates. Aizawa passed the rest of the papers out. These have more notes, make sure to read them over. Suddenly he got serious. Now for the rest of the parade, I'll be picking your class president. I'll do it. I want to be president. I'll take the position. Everyone control yourselves. We must dash. You're raising your hand too. I don't care how you do it, but do it quietly. You have until lunch. As soon as Aizawa slipped back into his sleeping bag, Ida spoke up. We should decide through voting. But won't people just vote for themselves? Exactly, if anyone gets more than one vote then they're clearly worthy. The class was quick to agree with Yamamoto, handing out pieces of paper to write their votes on. We'll tally them up on the board. So that's what happened? Hitoshi asked, looking to his brother, who was covering their face. Izuku and Yamamoto got voted. I was more than happy to work as a class representative, but Izuku seems. Yamamoto trailed off. He's never been good in public, Hitoshi explained, but he'll be fine. Apologies if my vote has saddened you, friend. You seemed like the clearest option in my opinion. Tokoyami explained with dark shadow nodding along. Same, my second choice was gonna be Yamamoto too. Kaminari added. I can do it. Izuku finally uncovered their face. Just didn't think. They made a slight growl sound. Didn't think people would want. They sighed. Voted for Yamamoto. Obvious to me. Me not so obvious. Well, thank you Izuku. I think you'll do good though. Plus I will assist where I can. Thanks. Before they could continue an alarm started to blare. What is that? What's happening? Security level 3 has been broken. All students please evacuate in an orderly fashion. Security level. Students started standing up and running, seeming to ignore the last part of the announcement. With all of the chaos, Izuku, Uraraka, and Ida were shoved against the glass. Izuku quickly shifted into a bird and flew up before turning back, turning his legs into tentacles to stick to the ceiling. He reached down and grabbed Ida and Uraraka, lifting them out of the chaos. It's the press. Ida shouted, trying to get everyone's attention, but no one listened. Uraraka. Make me float. Okay. Ameda. Get me to the front of the group. They nodded and turned into a flying fox, using their wings to fly him to the front. Everyone. The security breach is just the press. Please calm down and evacuate in an orderly fashion. That seemed to get the group's attention as everyone started looking out the windows. He's right. How did that even happen? Is anyone hurt? Good, Ameda, thank you for your help. Could you perhaps help me down? Izuku nodded and jumped down, turning into a large snake and helping Ida down. Thank you. Call me Izuku. Of course. Thank you for your assistance, Izuku and Uraraka. No problem. When they got back to the class, Izuku and Yamamoto went to the front of the class. We thank you for your votes. We will do our best to help the class. However, we would like to propose a third member. Yamamoto gestured to Ida. We think it would be helpful to add Ida to the representatives as the class safety coordinator. Do what you want. Welcome, Ida. Izuku cheered, clapping along with the class. Woohoo. Let's go, Batman. Yeah, Batman. Guys. They're totally Batman, Robin, and Oracle. You're such a nerd. Class representatives Yaoyorozu Momo added 2 others. Yaoyorozu Momo, hello. I thought it would be a good idea to have a group chat so we can communicate easier. Ida Tenya, that is a fantastic idea. Ida Tenya, I also must thank you both for the opportunity. I will make you proud. Ameda Izuku changed 3 names. Robin, someone in class called us these, I thought it was fun, smiley face. Robin, also sorry, I don't text or talk much. Batman, that's quite alright. Oracle, not to worry Izuku. Oracle, but I also made this chat because Aizawa sensei informed me of a school trip.